What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPapa, and I can't wait to share with you my 5 favorite buys under $5 right now. Now, there are tons and tons of cards that fit under that $5 threshold, right? But I have dug through tons of TCG Player and Pokedata.io and eBay in order to come up with this list. And you all know, when I'm looking at things to buy or collect or invest in, I spend more time looking at downside protection than I do looking at the upside. So these cards are ones that I flushed out. I think that, hey, listen, very little downside risk, but I do think that they have the opportunity to perform really, really well in the long run. Now, with that being said, guys, we are barreling down on 1,000 subscribers. As I shoot this, we are 19 away. So if you want to get into this prize drawing for these awesome con things I'm about to talk about, all you have to do, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and you are automatically entered into the contest. So what are we giving away? I've committed to give away 3 things. One of them is going to be the very first piece ever of PikaPikaPapa swag, okay? So I've got this design. I also have a t-shirt. You can get it on a collared shirt. You can get it on a regular t-shirt, whatever you want, but that is going to be one prize. Another prize in honor of Pika Pika. All right, a Pikachu V-Union Celebrations box, and then Le Piece de Resistance. We're going to be giving away an Elite Trainer box of Evolving Skies, just like we ripped yesterday on the channel. So again, all you have to do, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below. You're going to be entered into the contest. I promise you, as excited as you all are to possibly win one of these, nobody's more excited than I am, because I get so much joy and fulfillment from putting these things in the mail and sending them out, because I appreciate you and I truly love you more than you know and more than I can say into words. With all that being said, let's get into this. So I want to explain to you what my criteria was. So for these 5 under 5, I wanted to look at Sword and Shield era only. Obviously, I wanted to keep it under $5, and I'm going to tell you, they all ended up being under $4. One has a price chart that says $4.20, but I bought 3 of them yesterday for $4 each with free shipping. So all of these are $4 and below. I wanted big names, and big names gives us stability. Big names gives us a little bit of predictability. So when you look, this is January, February, March. So this is Q1 of the top graded Pokemon at PSA. And you see the top 8 names are the same. I'm going to say this as well. I think PSA lumps Mew and Mewtwo into one. I think they lump it into one category because Mewtwo isn't on here, but I know Mewtwo gets graded all the time. Mew is on here, so we're just going to assume that PSA has lumped Mew and Mewtwo into one. But these are the top 8. They're the top 8 every single month, same top 8 for the entire quarter. I also started at Lost Origin and worked my way back to Sword and Shield base set, because I didn't want to include any of the newer sets just because the prices are still trying to flush out. There's too much fluctuation. There's just too uncertainty, and again, as I said earlier, I'm trying to protect the downside. So I started at Lost Origin, worked my way back to Sword and Shield base set. So all of these cards are going to be in that parameter there. And honestly, I'm looking for cards that could 2 to 3x, and I was looking for minimum downside. So 2 to 3x basically means if it's $1, do I think it has the potential to grow to $2 or $3? And that might sound like a really low barrier, but to me, it's easier for a card to grow from $1 to $2 if it's a big name than it is to go from $50 to $100. And I know that the percentage gain is the same, but it's just like this mental block where the cards are easier to grow when they have a lower price point. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about all these, and the number 1 card that I'm going to share with you right now is this one. The MEWTWO from Pokemon Go Elite Trainer boxes. Now, here's some of the reasons why I think it's undervalued right now. I think Pokemon Go Elite Trainer boxes are everywhere. I certainly think there was a ton of production, and I think that they're still readily available to everybody who wants them right now. I think the true value of this card isn't going to be realized, and we're not going to get to be able to conceptualize it until you can't find Pokemon Go Elite Trainer boxes anymore. It is old enough that I think that point is coming near, and that is why I think it's a good time for me to go ahead and buy some of these. Now, the price chart shows $1.23. You can get these with shipping anywhere from $1 to $2. It's going to fall somewhere in that range. And again, I think that from a population perspective, I know that there's a lot of Pokemon Go Elite Trainer boxes out there, but when you look at the PSA population, there's only 1,100 10s, and to put that into some perspective, when we think about the MEWTWOs of the world, right, there's almost 6,000 of those out there. When you think of some of these Charizard Black Star promos, some of them have 6, 8, 10,000 of them out in circulation. So yes, 1,100 is a lot of PSA 10s, but in the grand scheme of things, that is not an astronomically huge number, okay? And even the 9s population, is at 567. So that means one of 2 things. Either not a lot of people are submitting them, or that those who are submitting them have a really keen eye, because almost all of them are coming back PSA 10s. And again, when I was flushing this out, I went back and I looked at Sun and Moon. So I looked at all of the MEWTWO Black Star promos from Sun and Moon, and there are 3 of them that I consider, that don't have yellow borders. Okay, so there's 2 of them that you can get in blisters and stuff like that. But there's 3 of them that are VV Max, Tag Team, all that kind of this stuff. The lowest priced one was $5. Okay, so that tells me that, hey, listen, even though the lowest valued one from Sun and Moon, the lowest valued MEWTWO Black Star promo from Sun and Moon is at $5. If you can get this one for $1.50, that's a 3-4x gain depending on what you pay for it if it gets to the same performance as that other MEWTWO Black Star from Sun and Moon. So I think this is a really safe investment. I certainly don't see it dropping below $1, $1.50. This is one of the ones where if I had the opportunity to buy a lot at a discount, if somebody said, hey, I'll sell you 50 or 100 of these for a cash deal, I would jump all over it simply because I just don't see a lot of downside in it, and I do think it has room to at least 2x, if not 3x, 4x over the year. So super cool card, super cool Pokemon. I would be all in on this, and I guarantee you that I will be buying more of these in the coming days. The very next one I wanted to talk about, you know that I couldn't get through this without talking about a female full art trainer. So SHAUNA is the one that's going to make the list here. I have been talking about how I think Fusion Strike is a sneaky long-term play. I think it's got Gengar, right? It's got Mew. It's got some of the big names in it. I think it's got the ability to be a long-term set that does well. This also has a crazy low PSA population, so only 153 10s, 110 9s, which means it might be kind of hard to send it through and get that PSA 10, right? In the last slide we saw the MEWTWO, there was 1,100 PSA 10s and 500 PSA 9s. This is closer to a 50-50 split. And then when we look at this card, I say it passes the eye test down at the very bottom, and that's because you know that I've been talking a lot about female full art trainers here over the last 3 months. And so that, because I've talked about it a lot, I've looked at a ton of them from every era that you can imagine. And I'm going to tell you, when I look at this card, it has a lot of visual similarities to the other ones that have done really well over time. And we know in Pokemon, like rarity, the Pokemon, the character, the visuals, all of that plays into long-term value for this card. So yeah, it's been on a little bit of a downward trajectory if you look at the chart, but you see it's kind of starting to fight its way back up. This might be the time to get in and make a play on SHAUNA, because in the long run, this could be one of the ones, we went back, we looked at all the Sun and Moon female full art trainers that have performed really, really well over the last 6 months. This could be one a couple years down the road that really tends to pop off. And at $3.50 right now, to me, it's a no-brainer. Having a couple of these in the old PC, I think there's no harm in it. I think worst case scenario, it gets to $5 further down the road. Like, we know that the top 20 cards in all of Sun and Moon, I think they average $18. So, the top ones are pulling it up a little bit, but still the bottom ones, I think the last 6 sets in Sun and Moon, the lowest price card in the top 20 is, I think, like $11 or $12. So all that to say, I have very little doubt that your downside is extraordinarily well protected in the SHAUNA full art trainer card. All right, let's get to the next one. This, to me, is a really sneaky play. Now, I know we're coming back to Pokemon Go, and I know everybody loves Charizard, so to call this a sneaky play doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because everybody knows the card. What I'm going to say right here, reverse holos over the long run have done really well. They've done much better than I anticipated until I started doing this research into this. I also love the fact that even though it's a Zard, everybody sends Zards off to get graded. This has a really low PSA population in the reverse holo. 77 10s, 265 9s. We have seen a lot of stuff from these specialty sets. Pokemon Go, we're going to talk about celebrations here in a minute. The PSA 10 populations are really low. There's something about these cards. It could be the print lines, it could be print defects, it could be centering, whatever it is. There's some commonality that makes these cards really hard to get in high grade. So for me, if you could go out and buy, say, 100 of these, and then you send them somewhere, and you have, like, for me, I would send them to my pre-screener. My pre-screener might say, okay, out of these 100, 50 of them are booty, 50 of them are good. Send the 50 of them through, you get some PSA 10 back. I think that there's a ton of upside there. But overall, this card is on the upward and the right trajectory. Again, just like I said with the Mew, I think once Pokemon Go starts to dry up, I think these cards are going to perform really, really well in the long run. Charizard's the name. Super cool art on here. Reverse holos do well. It's already on that upward and the right trajectory. I think Pokemon Go, once it flushes out of the system, is going to be a great set. So I think there is no risk here. Not no risk. There's no such thing as no risk. But I think there's very, very little risk in pulling the trigger on this Zard card right here. And for under $3, get out of here. Come on, man. I love that. All right, very next set. I call them Celebrations penny cards, but they're really not. Now, I want to call out, don't let the graphs fool you. Like, these are really going for about $1 each, $1 and change, because when you throw in shipping and all of that, it's going to show the Pikachu's 41 cents, the Lugia's like 20 cents, and the Mew's at 50 cents. So the reality is you can't get them quite that cheap unless you can find them, again, in bulk. This is another one where I'll say, if somebody came up to me and said, I want to sell you 100 of any of these cards, I would absolutely pull the trigger and buy them in a heartbeat. Celebrations has been available in the wild for a long time. I mean, heck, we're giving away a Celebrations boxes as a prize here. I bought that from Best Buy not long ago. So All I'm saying is Celebrations is still available in the wild. You can still find their boxes at Walmart. You can't find the Lance's Charizard. Like, I know I always look for them. They're not there. But you can find the Dark Sylveon ones there. So you can still find this in the wild. Once it dries up, it's going to be very interesting to see how these cards perform. Now, if you go to a website like Pokedata.io and you look at some of these older specialty sets, the sealed products do much better than the individual cards. There aren't a lot of these specialty sets where the individual cards do well. But again, here's what I want to say. These cards, if you pay $1 each, do I think that once Celebrations dries up, do I think that they can get to $2 each? Do I think they can 2x? Do I think they can get to 3x? I think they probably can. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of Celebrations out there in the world, and we know that Celebrations had a very, very low card count, right? I think there was less than 30 cards or right around 30 cards in the entire set. So with all those packs out there, there's going to be tons and tons of duplicates of these cards in the wild as well. So I don't want anybody to think that there's any kind of crazy exclusivity when it comes to these. But when we talk about downside protection, I don't think there's any downside here or very minimal downside. And I do think that there's going to be enough excitement. I think there's enough collector interest that these can increase in value enough to make it a reasonable play. Plus, they're awesome cards to have in the collection. Like, look at that. I love all of the artwork here. I think they're just absolutely beautiful cards to have. They are ones that I would have no problem putting in a crate, putting in the closet, putting them in a corner, and forgetting about them and coming back in 5 to 10 years, and I guarantee that the value is going to be up there where I hope it is. So, again, crazy low PSA populations. We just talked about this a minute ago with Pokemon Go and that Charizard, right? The Pikachu 10s, there's only 101 PSA 10s of that Pikachu as of yesterday. The Lugia, there's only 51, and coincidentally, the Mew, there is 51 as well. I double-checked, that's not a typo. As of yesterday, there's 51 PSA 10s for the Lugia and the Mew as well. Again, these are cards that I just feel really good about having in the PC. I feel really good about spending, you know, a small, reasonable amount of money on them, setting them away, and then seeing where they are in the next 3 to 5 years. Is it something that's going to bankroll your kid's future college education? Probably not. But when you're talking about building a well-rounded collection and when you're thinking about building out your war chest, these are some pieces that you should absolutely consider having in that as well. All right, next one we're getting into, and this is the final one on the list, and this is one that I like this card a lot. And the things that I like about it is it's from Evolving Skies, right, which is obviously the home run set from Sword and Shield. This one comes from the 3-pack blisters, and the 3-pack blisters have performed really well over the long run. I think more people are buying and holding 3-pack blisters and keeping them sealed now than ever before because they have performed really well. They're not as liquid as like an ETB or a booster box, and for whatever reason, they don't have the hype or popularity, but from a overall ROI, they do really well. So I think that even though there's going to be a ton of these out in the wild, I think a lot of people are keeping them sealed. I also think that these are products that probably end up in the hands of kids more often than collectors, or maybe 50-50, but I do think the 3-pack boosters end up on in different types of Pokemon enthusiasts' hands versus some of these more specialty sets, which I think tends to them being ripped a lot. I also think that since Umbreon's the big dog in Evolving Skies, I think that bodes well to it. This is the one that I bought the other day. I bought 3 of them for $4 each with free shipping. I'm going to continue to buy more. You see, this one has popped off a little bit in the last month. It went from $3. It's all the way up to $4.20. It's starting to normalize a bit. I feel really good. Now, is this going to get to be a $10, $12 card? That's what I'm betting on. I think it looks really cool. I love the moon in the background. I just think it just all ties in to the fact that I'm incredibly bullish on the long run prospects of this card. Out of all of the cards on the list, it's hard to say that a $4 card carries the biggest risk, but out of all of them on the list, I think this is the one that probably has the best chance or the best probability of being flat over the long term. I don't know if it's going to get to $12. I don't see it being a $20 card personally. I think that would just drive the price of those 3-pack blisters way through the roof. So we shall see, but I do like this card. I do think it's a great buy and hold. I think if you can get it in a PSA 10, there's only a PSA 10 pop of 145, a PSA 9 pop of 302. Those blister packs, they're not known to be very kind to the cards, and I think that's why we see the population skewed to the 9 versus the 10s. It's rough on the corners, it's rough on the edges. So if you can find this in absolute pristine condition out in the wild, even if you have to pay $5 for it, oh darn, get it graded, send it through. I think it's going to be an incredibly awesome piece of everybody's collection moving forward. So I love doing videos like this. This video spun up because all of you out there, when we did the TCG player, top 10 cards that exchanged hands, all of you guys had said, hey, this is great, but what if I don't want to go out and spend $100 on a card? What if I don't want to go out and spend $75 on a card? Like, what are some value plays out there? You spoke, I listened, I did a ton of research, and I think these are some home run cards to have in the old PC. And if you're lucky enough to get them in PSA 10 condition, all of these are going to have some serious value to them. So with that being said, if you made it all the way to the end and you're not a subscriber, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, get into the contest. Listen, we're not a very big channel, so by getting into the contest, your odds of winning are a whole lot better than, say, when you do that for a channel with 100,000 subs. So anyways, I am so thankful. I'm so appreciative of all of you guys. I hope you found value in this video, and I look forward to seeing you soon. You guys have an epic one. See everybody. Bye.